On the table today at Squirrel Stampede, I am trying to level up my Godzilla collection, and by doing so, I have picked up some Super 7 Ultimates, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla. As you can see, I have mostly collected Playmates Toys Godzilla and a basic assortment of Bandai Godzilla, and now I'm looking for something a little more detailed with a little more articulation.
Are you sure you're a Godzilla?
Oh yeah, me Zilla God, yeah. So I thought I'd start with a couple options from Super 7 because I do like some of the retro stuff out there. Although I know that Bandai has SH Monster Arts and Spirits or something. You might want to help me out in the comments and recommend what I should really be looking for. But looking at what Super 7 is offering for the Heisei Godzilla Era, which is one of my favorites, both Godzilla 89 and a Mechagodzilla 93 are looking fun. So we'll start there. We'll see what I can do if these will level up my collection or not. So follow along as we crack open some tail joints, activate some atomic breaths, and see how these Super 7 Godzillas, how squirrely they can be.
Squirrel Stampede!
Please like,
Share! And Squirrel Live!
What say we get in closer with Heisei Godzilla 1989 Super 7 Ultimates? It's like really shady in there. I'm having the toughest time getting my camera to get inside this box. I will say amazing box design with these. There is a slip cover too, but I apparently slipped it. So if you wish to really protect, add a slip cover over the top. Heisei Godzilla vs. Biollante 1989. This figure actually goes along with a great Biollante figure, but I just kind of wanted Godzilla. And the Godzilla Heisei Era lasted from 84 to 95. Also nicknamed the VS Versus series in Japan due to the word VS being featured in most of the film titles. And I like this season of Godzilla. It's one of my favorite designs. Kind of in between eras and looks nice. Well, I gotta get this guy out. The reflection's driving me crazy. Shin Godzilla has drinks to pass out, and it's been too long in package. It feels like if we're careful, we could keep this packaging around for a long, long time. Only one cut up top should open this up. Almost, what was that? Oh, Shin Godzilla spilled his drink. Sorry, buddy. Anyhow. Was there an easy way to do this? If there is, I'm doing the most difficult. And there's one very upside down Godzilla toy. Oh well, at least we can finally see him without the reflectiveness of that box. First thoughts, pretty darn heavy. What do they use at Super 7? Metal? Plastic? So now we can see what actually is involved with a Super 7 Ultimates Godzilla. Obviously Godzilla included, along with a secondary head switch out. I wonder if that implies his mouth does not open with a hinge. We've got multiple hands, 2 fists, 2 grabby-like hands, and a hand with a Biollante hole in it. Must be for interacting with Biollante. And of course, one giant tail. So I think to remove, I gotta get through the back maybe? Lots of tape here still. Now I can get to this twist cord. And now we can free Godzilla from the pack. Come on, big guy, come on.
no,
Almost there. There we go. And of course, long tail retrieval system. Some assembly required. Okay, squirrels. Helicopter squirrel, we are out. What are you seeing here? What do you think? Our first initial reaction to Heisei Godzilla out of pack Super 7 Ultimates. In the past, I've had some quality issues with the Super 7, so I don't typically always pick up, and because in the past they've been a little bit overpriced. So far, feeling good with this one though. Really heavy, and the plastic quality is feeling very Godzilla-esque. It's a heavy yet soft plastic that I can get on board with. Initial look at sculpt in plastic, not super high in detail, but not super low in detail either. In a way, somewhat cartoony, but if you're getting in onto this head, there's fairly good detail. I guess it's just kind of where you're looking at. The head feels really well designed, whereas if you move down to other parts of the body, say within this chest, it feels a little more basic. From afar though, I am liking the style of this Godzilla. I'm seeing things I like a lot from the design of this, especially the length and the arch of this tail. That's an impressive feature. And down the back, spine system, high detail going through. There's so many plates and spines and angles and spikes growing large up top at central back and then smoothing down spikily down through the bottom tail.
I know. Let me give it a spike test.
What are you doing, big gray squirrel?
Here we go. 1, 2. Ooh, ow, ooh, ah, ee, oh, ooh, ah, ooh.
And that is a big gray squirrel spike test for you. And so the next big question is articulation. How many points here? I'm guess counting 22 points of articulation. And how will that go? That's another Super 7 thing in the past hasn't worked exactly too well. We'll start up here at top. We've got head up on neck, which can rotate at the upper neck portion, and then the lower portion. But not too much movement there. It's softening up as I rotate and move around, so it's getting a little better. I wish the mouth opened and closed, and that's why we're given that second head. Arms are important, so how are they going to work? We've got hinges up at the shoulder and rotation, a full 360, and they are slowly softening up on me. A mid-shoulder bicep rotation, so that's nicely included, and elbows there. Nicely hinged. I'm getting pretty good motion from it. That's pretty good. I mean, certainly more motion than this Godzilla 2004 with just 1 point there, so a little more there to work with. I think these arms are going to give this Godzilla plenty of great positioning, and I believe it does position well with Biollante going down to a central torso rotation, looking good. That's where I've had trouble in the past with the Super 7. Say I move something in the center and the whole body would like break in two, but I think they've kind of fixed that over the years. They'd be in trouble if they didn't. And then we've got hips, giant Godzilla hips. I don't know about these. These are pretty chunky and they do reach out a little bit. Kind of reminds me of a Jurassic World hip on a dinosaur. It's going to be very tight because it's so chunky, but you're going to get some movement out of it, and honestly you don't need too much because he kind of is a giant tripod supported by two legs and a tail. And then you've got kneecaps here that are hinged, also chunky, little tight because he's just been opened, not too much there, maybe 30 degrees of movement. And then the legs, there's feet on hinges and they can rotate, so a nice flat foot for stability. I'm liking it. Then rotate around to this massive tail again. The tail articulation kind of tied into that central back where you've got rotation up here, and then the tail ball joints in down here, a little bit worrisome. You can actually see into here, which doesn't look that great. So it will move at that central main pivot ball point, and then there are several points. Oh my goodness, I did not see this coming, but so go 2 segments in, and there is some rotation, and a little more. Maybe each segment is rotated. Yeah, there's a little bit of movement. Oh, this tail is hyper articulated. Oh, it's even there. So every segment, I didn't catch that first segment. Godzilla definitely needs to go to the chiropractor. Can I help you out, buddy?
Yeah, it's really sore.
There, how about that?
Much better.
So this is fun. This is like very satisfying, the noise it makes. But I am super impressed. I am very impressed. Actually, I did not expect to like this much. But I haven't really gone into the Bandai Spirits SH Monster Art stuff yet to really compare, and that will be upcoming. So again, we have multiple hands to switch out to. This one's kind of a grip with claws. I think I'm just going to keep what I have here. They're gonna work just fine. I kind of have a problem with some of these super fancy toys coming with too many options for hands. But there are fist options if you want to switch over to a punching fist. These will do just as fine though as a punching claw. And there are more open-ended hands if you want him to kind of give a slap to a bad guy. Does Godzilla slap? I can't remember. Let's do a quick head change out though, see if I can figure that out. So it appears it's one giant ball joint. I hope so. This is always so stressful. And we'll go in here and crack off a head, I suppose. Oh, okay, so it's down low. I'm not sure what this is. I think this is another piece to add on. Yeah, it's a greener. It's another add-on piece if you're versing Biollante. Okay, so I was able to remove his top head from his neck, and now I can place on the open mouth onto this piece. Pop that on. and pop that down. Oh, that's so much better. You gotta have Zilla with the mouth open. That is so much better. It's a bummer we didn't get one with opening and closing jawline. That might be my only critique of this, is the non-opening closing jaw, but he looks so much better now. Oh wow, so going into this, looking at box, I was thinking, yeah, the box makes it look like a 9 out of 10 toy, but what is it like outside of the box? Well, it's also a 9 out of 10. It's just been fun. It's got great articulation, it's nice and heavy. I'm going to be able to get it into a lot of great positioning and poses, and it's a great scale size too. A little bit taller than most of the Godzilla we collect here. He is running at about 8.5 inches tall. But most impressively, this tail system, we're talking like 14, 15 inches in length. So a figure I kind of thought was going to be like a 6 once I got it out of the box. I'm liking it. I'm totally going with a 9 squirrels out of 10 right now. But we'll see how that holds once I get over to a Bandai Spirits or an SH Monster Arts figure Zilla or something different. I would like to try a couple different kinds of fancy Zillas and figure out who would be my favorite. But right now, this guy's gonna sub in so well. It's gonna sub in so well with the collection, especially from the 80s era. A really nice 80s scale Zilla. I think Super 7 did well. I'm very happy. So while Zilla enjoys a tasty beverage with Shin Godzilla, let's check out the other Ultimates. The Heisei I Can See My Blinds Mechagodzilla. Now, because of the costs involved, I don't know how very far I'll go into the Super 7 Ultimate series. My main thought though was picking up at least Godzilla and a Mechagodzilla in this series and calling it good. Unless maybe they perform so well and then perhaps down the line I'll pick one more up. I really just was only looking for a really fancy, cool looking Zilla and a Mechagodzilla. You gotta have a Mechagodzilla, and this one looks so good from 1993. Over on the back, and this movie was wild. The Heisei Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, 1993, by salvaging components of Mecha King Ghidorah, the UNGCC, United Nations Godzilla Countermeasure Center, developed the ultimate defense against Godzilla, a machine doppelganger known as Mechagodzilla. And if I recall, again, this movie was wild and a lot of fun. But as for a Super 7 figure, it felt like a perfect match to go against 89 Godzilla and will display well together and shows my blinds reflecting in the window. These boxes are so hard to film. Let's just get them out. And if you thought maybe it would be easier to go in through the bottom, I don't think so, because the bottom is kind of a crisscross fold, so it's easier to open up from top and flip around upside down. But we're a little more practiced, so here we go. And how about that upside down Mechagodzilla? I am liking the fact that these packs are reusable, repackable really simply. Yeah, you will cut a few packaging tabs on the feet, but the body you can rewire back in and redisplay in these boxes if you desire. Alright, out of pack, let's take a look at Mechagodzilla first impressions. Not as nice, not as high quality as Godzilla turned out to be, unfortunately. There's something about this one that does not feel as nice, but it is still pretty impressive. I always liked this age style of Mechagodzilla. Not so metallic goofy as the original versions, but then not too futuristic over metal as the modern versions. It has a good midway point feel to it. Throwing this down a few squirrels is the paintwork. It's a little bit blotchy in a way. The tail isn't as incredible as Zilla's tail, and I feel like the articulation in the arms might be very limited. We have some things to put together though. We've got a belt, we've got to get his weight belt on there, and I've noticed some of these things are not holding on tightly. They're popping off really easy with this one. Did not see, it just pops right out. I did not see anything like that happening with Zilla, so this weight belt piece will pop out. We've got interchangeable backpack spines. So we've got our regular spines right here, and they just kind of puzzle in, but not very tightly. That also is going to fall out on me. Maybe if I really squeeze it on there, I haven't really figured out. I can get it to hold, but it's gonna pop out really easily, unfortunately. Both the back spines and the belt could have been designed a little tighter there. But I do like the spines. They look good once they're installed. just kind of a lot more stumpy than what we just saw with the Zilla. And so before we go and add on other things, let's check this articulation. Here's our first head, which is looking good, and it is up on a ball joint, I believe. Maybe there's 2 points, lower and an upper and a lower joint. Non-opening jaws, but there's some good teethiness to the sculpt. I like looking at those teeth. Very wolf-like on this one. Maybe it's just the silver, but it's looking good. The head sculpt is looking good. And the 2 other head sculpt options, one with mouth open, and I think I enjoyed that better on Zilla, but I think I'll leave him with the closed mouth. And then for Mecha in flight mode, you can move his head, say, pointed up, and they give you this option. It's too bad they couldn't give you just a simple hinge or something to actually hinge him up, but maybe they didn't want to take away from the back of the neck spines on his head there. So if you want him in flight mode, take that off and put the head looking up mode, or just looking at the ceiling fan. So the arms, I feel like, are the most limited compared to Godzilla. We still have shoulder rotation, 360, woo! I like Mechagodzilla, he can do fun things like that. And then reach out, a little bit encumbered by these shoulders, so they don't reach out all the way. I don't know what's going on with the elbows. Oh, I lost the belt again. I don't know what's going on with the elbows. I can't find a joint in there. There is rotation here, but I can't find a joint to see. Oh, I might see one now. There goes the back spines again. There's a point of rotation, but there's almost like a fake articulated part for bendage, and it doesn't bend. I don't want to force it. If you have one of these, does yours bend? And then wrist rotation, pretty good claw work on him. There's only one other hand replacement with this one. This one is currently kind of, hands are curling in just a little bit. There is a hand replacement with fingers out. Hardly noticeable, I'll just keep what we have. Going down to central body, there is rotation here. I believe it's a little bit tied in and tight though right now. Kind of afraid to use it. It's probably one giant ball joint. I'm not gonna force it though. It feels a little tight. And then hips, which are better than Zilla's. We can actually do a kick out, a much larger kick out. He's not as chunky as Zilla. And then knees are in there, which pretty good. Pretty good leg movement. Better leg movement than arm movement. Nice flat feet. So they're a little bit more limited than Zilla, enough to kind of do some things. More annoyed that the weight belt and the back spines keep flying off. But if you're not into the back spines, we also have the G-Force carrier ship, and we can land this on his back. We can switch this, and I have a feeling this is just gonna chunk right off. We'll make him look really cool. Then we can also fold down these huge cannon blasters over the shoulder. And maybe those will help stabilize this pack from falling off. It's certainly helping because the tail is stumpy on Mechagodzilla, and so to have a huge pack on his back really looks much better. Then we've got some fun with grapples. And this is actually impressive. These are actually metal, aluminum grapples included. And they plug on into his forearms. It's a little tight at first. In fact, I didn't think I even saw a hole there, but I was able to get in the grapple there. I don't know if I can get the other one in. They look so cool though. Right into these side forearms, there's a little hole part. I might have to drill that one out. It is too tight. But look at that. The metal works so much better than, say, plastic. It would be sagging if it was plastic. You're gonna have to be very extra careful with these. They could easily break. They could easily break the port out, I believe. But they are quite a fun addition. Oh, I lost his backpack, by the way. Again, they just don't hold on very well. And so there we go. I'm not even gonna bother with the weight belt. It will fly out. So many things just not going for Mechagodzilla for me to give a good score. I'm thinking maybe 6 out of 10 squirrels with this one. I kind of had them flipped. I thought Mechagodzilla was going to turn out better than Godzilla. Mecha looked great in package, not so much in play. There's going to be a lot of fumbling with this one if I can't figure out how to tie down those back spines or backpack. Looks nice, has a great sculpt, paint is a little bit off, so yeah, about 6 or 7 squirrels out of 10. I should also say you could add in these fire blast details to the lower back hips for flight mode. And there's a couple smaller Fire Blast details on his back pads there. And now pairing the two together for battle, Mechagodzilla actually has some height over Godzilla, actually at about 9 inches in height versus this 8, 8.25, 8.5 inches. So overall, I'm really happy and pleased with the Super 7 Godzilla. I think this one will be really fun to add into the Zilla lineup. Mechagodzilla, not so much excited for. Kind of need to have an extra a duo to fight along with, but there's some flaws with this one that just turned out not as nice. So between the two, Godzilla is far superior. I'm glad Super 7 took a little more time and care on this one. That's probably how it went down. Mecha has some issues here and there. Looks great, just has some issues here and there. But kind of nice to pick up two in a series. You always got to pick up a couple to have like a versus battle, or just have a pair up friend to hang out on a display somewhere. So I'm not totally displeased with Mechagodzilla. I think it's easily the second most interesting figure of their lineup. But truly, Heisei Godzilla really turned out spectacular. Glad to finally add this one into the collection.
What is this stuff, by the way?
It's evolution juice.
Oh yeah, that hits the spot.
So the Super 7 Ultimates Heisei Godzilla, super welcome to level up the collection today. Mechagodzilla, me can sit in the back row. The next now, I have to figure out the SH Monster Arts or Bandai Spirit, something like that. Help me out in the comments if there's something I need to look for. It's a little challenging because the price points are so high. You don't want to overgo on some of these and then end up with a giant Mechagodzilla in the backdrop. So let me know what you're thinking. But I truly like this Super 7 Heisei Godzilla today. It turned out pretty fun. If you like today's video, please give us a squawk, squirrelibe, squammet, your favorite Godzilla figure. Thank you so much for watching. That's what I have to say about that.